Starting out lying down on your mat, go ahead and start to glide your shoulder blades down your back. Let the legs splay open, let your palms open up. And begin to close your eyes. Let your body settle. And start out with a really conscious exhale. As you soften your entire body, feeling yourself root into your mat. And then with your next inhale, start to feel your body expand. Feeling your belly rise. Feeling your rib cage open, heart center open. And then on that breath out, once again, the softening. And continue to start to find your rhythm of breath. Begin to lengthen out your inhalation and exhalation. And notice those beautiful sacred pauses in between. That space in between is the silence. It's the wholeness. And all things come from this silence. All things exist in the silence. And all things shall return to the silence. Let yourself savor each breath. And then bringing one hand to the heart center, one hand to the belly. As you breathe all the way to the bottom of your lungs, feeling that bottom hand rise, and then start to feel your heart center expand a little bit more into your hand. And a few more soothing breaths here. With every breath in, we meet the divine will from within. With every exhale, we expand that into the world. And cultivating your intention for practice. What is it that you want to expand back into the world? Let it be something of high vibration, a word or a phrase. And then we'll go ahead and start to reach those arms overhead, taking a big stretch as we awaken the body back into the space. Now we're going to start to bend the body over to the right side of your mat. So start to walk your feet over, and then the upper body and the arms start to bend as if you're in a crescent moon shape. Now you can hook your left ankle above your right. You can also grab a hold of that left wrist But whatever you're doing, continue to let your entire body melt into the floor. Now, as we breathe here, we feel that big stretch from that left wrist all the way down to your heel. And then we bring ourselves back to the center. And gently walking over to the left side. And the same thing, you could hook up that right ankle above your left and grabbing a hold of your right wrist. Back body is grounding. It's a front body open and skyward. And then we slowly bring the body back through the center. Releasing those arms. Start to bend your knees. Placing the feet to the floor. Heels are close into your glutes. Bring those arms at your side body. So imagine being able to touch your heels or graze your heels with your fingertips. And then on the inhale, we'll start to lift those hips up towards the ceiling, squeezing the glutes. Low back rises, mid back, upper body, chest up towards the chin in bridge pose. Take a breath here. And then the exhale as you lower upper body, low back, and then the hips. Continue with your breath so we start to move through flow. Now, as you do this, I want you to make sure your knees remained over your heels. As you rise up, you feel the squeeze of the glutes, the thighs drawing into the center of your body. And this also opens up the front of your chest. So feel the heart center rise towards the chin. You can press into your upper arm bones to assist. And we'll take one more round. Breath in to rise up, up, up. And the breath out lets you lower all the way down to the floor. Half Uttanasana is next. We'll bring the right knee into the chest, grabbing a hold behind your thigh or the shin bone. Your left leg can remain as is, or you can straighten that left leg to the top of the mat. So we're going to start to just gently straighten out those arms a bit, taking a breath. And then the exhale to squeeze the leg in towards your belly. Inhale to straighten out your arms. Exhale to hug the thigh back towards your belly. Let's just do that a couple more times. Starting to feel the stretch in your glute. Next time the knee comes into your chest, go and just pause there. And continue to squeeze the internal organs. And then we'll take that right leg up towards the ceiling. You can adjust your grip behind your thigh bone and start to circle your ankle around. This sequence is going to be so great for lower extremities. If you've been on your feet all day, this is going to feel really good. And gently go the opposite direction. And then gently draw the toes towards your face, pressing through your heel. And just feeling the sensations in the back of your legs. Now, some of you walking the hands up a little bit more, continue to bring the leg in towards your chest. Slightly deepening the stretch. Then you'll go ahead and start to bend the knee back into your chest and let your knee open up towards your right shoulder. Now you can stay right here or move into a half happy baby, bringing your right arm to the inside of your right thigh and then grabbing towards the outer edge of your right foot. Now continue to encourage your left hip back down into the mat. Relax your shoulder. Close the eyes and simply feel. And we'll go ahead and gently release as we bring the knee back up through the center. Moving into a twist this time. Right arm extends out and slowly draw the knee across the chest. Now you can scooch up on that left hip just a little bit to feel a deeper sensation. Can spin the chest open towards the ceiling, and then gaze can go to the right. Some of you may be straightening out that right leg here, if that feels okay, pressing through your heel. Again, just deepening the sensations in the outer hip. And then taking your gaze back up, we'll go ahead and slowly bring the legs back up to the center, bending the knees. Find the hips and spine back to neutral. Arms at your side body. We go back into rolling bridge. Knees are bent, heels are close in towards your glutes. Let's add those arms in this time. So on the breath in, we'll take the fingertips up towards the ceiling. We'll press into the floor. We'll lift those hips, arms reaching overhead. A little more opening in the shoulders and the chest. Exhale to lower all the way down to the floor. Letting your breath lead your practice here. So that inhale lets you rise up, up, up. And we're always a microsecond behind the breath. Let's take one more round. As you lower down to the floor, we'll pause, and then we'll bring the left knee into the chest. Move through our same sequence. Second side, right foot can remain as is, or you can straighten the right leg to the top of your mat. Move into half Appanasana as we inhale, straighten out those arms. Keeping the fingers lightly interlaced. The exhale lets you draw the leg into your belly. And again, inhaling and exhaling. Next time the knee comes into your chest, you can just hold there and just squeeze. And breath is in and out of the nostrils. And then we'll straighten the leg up towards the ceiling, rotating your ankle around. So you can grab a hold of the leg, or you can just release the hands altogether. And then circle the other direction. And then we'll just hold there as we draw the toes towards the face, pressing through the heel. You can walk the hands up a little bit more. One more full breath here. And on the breath out, we'll start to bend the knee back into the chest, letting the knee open up towards that left shoulder. Again, staying here or into half happy baby, bringing that left shoulder to the inside of your thigh, grabbing a hold of the outer edge of your foot, and then taking the leg up towards, or the foot rather, up towards the ceiling. Keep feeling your knee heavy towards the earth. And then we'll all go ahead and gently release, bringing the knee back up to the center and into your twist. The left arm extends out. We slowly draw the knee across. And again, maybe scooch it up on that hip a bit. Sometimes that can help to realign your spine. And then some of you option to straighten that left leg out and spinning the chest open a little bit more as you take the gaze to the left. And continue to feel the softening of the left shoulder towards the mat. And then we'll all bend the knee back in as we bring it to the center once again, feet to the floor, adjust. Everything is neutral in the spine and the pelvis. And this time we move into bridge and we'll hold. On the inhale, we'll lift those hips, press into the feet, strengthen your back body. And then option to start to walk your shoulder blades in, interlacing the fingertips underneath you. We keep pressing into the heels. So if you want to lift your heels, that's going to be a nice option, especially if you feel any compression in low back. We'll stay here for 2 breaths. Keep your gaze up at the sky or just close the eyes. And then we'll gently lower those heels down if they're lifted. Release the hands, walk your shoulder blades out, and then gently lower yourself down to the floor 1 vertebrae at a time. Going into full Apanasana. Knees coming into the chest, we'll cup the knees with the hands. And then on the inhale, we'll straighten out those arms. Exhale, hug your knee into your chest and squeeze. On your own. So remember, we're using that exhale to create more space in low back, to massage our digestive system as we squeeze the thigh snug. 95% of yoga therapy isn't what we bring into the body, it's actually what we release. So our body has such an innate way of healing itself. Couple more rounds through, just tilting the pelvis forward and back, feeling so good, so present. And then you'll go ahead and gently release. As you bring the feet down to the floor, knees remain bent. Start to walk your feet out mat distance. So just tiptoe them out. Toes are facing forward. And we move into those wipers, just a little side to side. And then eventually we bring those knees to the center, and then we'll all let the legs fall to the right. Now for a little bit more, continue to press that left thigh bone towards the floor. And then left arm reaching up and overhead towards the back of the mat. Just let your arm drape. And then we'll release as we bring those legs back up to the center and then gently letting them drop over to the left. Same thing, little press of that right thigh or knee towards the floor. Right arm can reach up and overhead towards the back of the room. And then just soften. And we're prepping the legs, hips, knees, all for slightly deeper stretches. As we move into lunging, we'll shift the weight and they'll just feel like a little bit more of gravity helping us stretch. And we'll bring the legs back up, we'll release the arms, and then slowly draw the legs in. Again, knees are bent, cross your right ankle above your left knee. Now let's just start out with flexing that right foot, toes curling towards your knee. Then take your hand, just press that right thigh away from your chest. And just check in. Soften your abdomen. Feel your low back just start to snuggle in towards the floor. And then we'll keep this shape. You can stay right here, or start to bring the legs in towards your chest, interlacing the fingertips behind your left thigh. Now we keep pressing that right thigh away from the chest and the shoulder. At the same time, you're drawing the legs in towards your chest. So these opposing actions make for a lovely stretch. And then we'll go ahead and gently release. Now keep the shape. You're just going to release the hands. Lower your left foot to the floor if it's not already there. So back to that starting position. And then just let the legs fall to the left. So at this point, your right foot can touch the floor. You can even take that left hand and just grab a hold of your shin bone or your ankle. And then once again, just open up the chest. And then we'll go ahead and bring the legs back up. You'll unravel and then go back into those wipers again. You can even add those arms in by grabbing hold of those elbows. And we can let the arms drop with the legs or opposite way. And then coming back up as we release the arms, walk the feet in, and then we'll cross that left ankle above the right knee this time into figure 4 or half pigeon. Just gently pressing that left thigh away from the chest. Curl your toes here to dorsiflex with that left foot. And then staying right here, bring the legs in towards your chest, interlacing the fingertips behind your right thigh. And just feel here. Feel the sensations in the hips, the glutes. Feel the fullness of your breath. Relax your jaw, soften the shoulders. And then we'll keep the shape of the pose. We'll just release the hands, bringing that right foot back down to the floor. And then we'll just let the legs fall over to the right. And once again, you can just grab a hold of that left ankle if that helps, or the shin bone. You can just spin the chest open a little bit more and just start to breathe. Paying attention to your exhale as you release that which is no longer of service to you in this moment. Just keep what's useful. And then we'll go ahead and bring the legs back up to the center as you unravel once again. Adjust the hips and spine back to neutral, this time into happy baby. Legs come in, grabbing wherever is comfortable for you. And once again, we start to feel the shoulders melt. We close the eyes or just soften the gaze. As we continue the journey within, every exhale allowing us to soften deeper into our own heart. Now go ahead and slowly lower down. And then you're going to lower the feet to the floor, knees remain bent, and just roll your way to one side of your mat. Doesn't matter which side you start with. We're just going to do 2 postures here. So just roll over to either side. That allows you to see your screen. And you can either prop your head up with your hand or just simply rest into your shoulder, arm extending out. And then we're just going to move into a quad stretch. So you're just going to bend your top leg, grab a hold of your ankle or your pant leg, and just draw in. Now, for a little bit more, you can just start to kind of kick that knee back a bit towards the opposite side of your mat. You can roll the shoulder back and just choose the variation with your head that feels most luscious for you. This class is all about resting and renewing ourselves, re-energizing. And we slow it down. We slow our momentum down in order to just feel. So we're not holding on to things from our day, from our past. And then we'll go ahead and slowly release that. Now, you're going to bring the knee in a little closer towards your right, or towards your shoulder rather. And then grabbing a hold of your foot, straighten out your leg. Now, if that's not accessible, just straighten out the leg and grab behind your thigh. It's amazing how many different directions we can come at this leg, right? We'll hit all the good spots. A couple more breaths here. And then you can go ahead and slowly release that. And then just finding your way to your other side. However you want to get there, you can roll through your belly, you can roll on your backside. I'm going to turn myself the other way just so you can see. Now, go ahead and just simply drop back in, again, propping your head or just resting into your shoulder, bending that top knee, finding your quad stretch of any kind. So again, if it's not accessible to grab a hold, sometimes both the sides will feel a little different. You can just release the hand and just scooch that top knee back a little bit, and that'll be enough sensation to feel a stretch. Otherwise, continue to draw that heel in towards your glute. Kick back with that knee a tad. And then we'll move into our extended leg as you bring that leg in towards the chest. And maybe grab a hold of your foot or behind your leg and straighten the leg up towards the ceiling. A few more breaths here. And we'll go ahead and slowly release that. You're going to bring the legs together, so you just simply bring yourself up into a seat. As you make your way up into a seat, if you need something to sit on, you have that option with a pillow or a blanket. Sometimes propping the pelvis up can help to support the low back. As you come up into your seat, you just take a moment to settle in. You can just simply close the eyes or gaze down. You can find a mudra with your hands, index and thumbs touching into a chin mudra, meditative mudra. And notice if you start to sink into your low back or your rounding. I invite you to press into your sits bones. Start to imagine a golden string at the center of your head, bringing you up, up, up. And then the current of liberation with the breath as we breathe from the root chakra all the way to the crown of the head. So just imagine your breath rising up And then with your next exhale, breath is down and out your body. That is the current of manifestation. And then we'll go ahead and slowly start to awaken the eyes. We'll take those arms up towards the sky. Inhale. On the exhale, turn the palms down and then bring the hands towards the floor once again as you tuck your chin. Turning the palms up, inhale, reaching those fingertips up. You can look up. Walk the rib cage up a little higher. Exhale to tuck the chin, hands coming back down at your side. And the last time through, breath in. And breath out. Hands down to the floor, lifting the chin back to neutral. Bring the right ear to the right shoulder. And then reach across with that right hand. Just nudge your head down. Your left hand can remain here on the mat. You can also imagine just pressing an imaginary wall. And then we'll lower the hand back down. We'll release, tucking the chin under, rolling the left ear to left shoulder. And exact same thing, just reaching across with that left hand. Just give yourself a gentle nudge. You could stay right there. Start to press through that hand once again. And then we'll release the hand. And both hands coming down to the floor. We tuck the chin once again. Walking the hands behind you, interlace those fingertips together. And you can stay right here or start to take a fold, bringing yourself towards the floor. At this point, the arms can go overhead. On the next breath, press down to rise back up if you're in your fold, releasing those hands. Interlace the fingertips in front of you this time. Start to turn those palms out. Tuck the chin round your spine. Exhale the breath. Inhale, reach those arms up towards the sky. Exhale to tuck the chin. Breath in to rise up. And breath out to tuck your chin. And this time we rise back up. Pause here as you take a bend over to the right. So if the arms bound is too much, you can just release the hand. And come back up, breath. Exhale over to the other side. So important practice to move the spine in all the different directions. We come back up to the center, big inhale. Releasing your hands, exhale into a twist. Doesn't matter which side you start with. Gazing behind you. And come back around to the center as we switch sides, inhaling, and then exhale to twist and rotate. And then coming back around. We're going to find our way into all fours, going to swing the legs behind you. And again, patting on the knees if you need it, blanket, you can even just do a little roll with your mat. And you're going to just start to move a little bit here in the hips, the shoulders, do some shoulder rolls, barreling the rib cage feels lovely. Child's pose for low back. And just start to continue really just checking in with yourself. We do that throughout our entire practice. But as we move into different shapes, the sensations are different. And it's not just the shape of the pose, it's also how the breath functions in the postures. And just continue to play a bit on your own. And we'll eventually find our way back into all fours as we start to move through cat-cow together. Bring those hands directly underneath the shoulders. We'll start to drop the belly, tailbone is up, as we gently roll those shoulders back. Big inhale, gaze can go up. Exhale to tuck the chin, round your spine, push into the floor. Breath in, chest and heart forward. Breath out to curl and round, feeling the opening in the back of the heart center. And again, inhaling. Exhale. Couple more times on your own. And eventually, when you finish, you can find your way into your child's pose or downward facing dog. Yogi's choice. Both give you a lovely stretch for the glutes, lovely stretch for the spine. And if you're in child's pose, hands wherever you'd like. You can wiggle the hips. You can even iron out your forehead. You're in downward facing dog. You can pedal the feet, walking your dog. And then we'll all start to drop back down onto those knees. We're going to step the right foot forward. So you're in a low lunge. Now, when you first get there, you might find that back knee in this 90-degree angle. And I want you to just scoot your knee back a little bit more so you have a little bit more length to work with. Now, hands remain down towards the floor. Your pads of your fingertips can help prop you up. And just take a moment to notice how this feels for you. If you need extra support, make sure you grab whatever you need. Couple breaths. And then we'll start to squeeze the thighs together a little bit more so there's more stability. And we'll bring the hands up on top of the thigh or the knee. Gaze is soft and forward. And you can stay there or take those arms up for a little bit more. Palms will turn in, reach up towards the sky. Beautiful. Take one more full breath there. On the exhale, bringing the hands down to the floor, we move into a half split neck. So you go ahead and just straighten out your right leg. And really dig that heel into the floor and really curl the toes towards your face, taking a big breath. And then exhale to melt the chest down towards your toes. And just continue to ride your breath like a wave. The inhale keeps you buoyant. The exhale lets you soften and dive deeper. Then we'll go ahead and start to walk those hands forward. You're going to bring your hands and shoulder to the inside of your right leg. And then you can start to just melt the chest down a little bit more here. Some of you coming all the way down to your forearms. Otherwise, just stay lifted and keep hugging your right knee towards your shoulder. Continue to keep your spine lengthening. Continue to stay open to your experience. Couple more breaths here. And then we're going to go ahead and rise back up in the chest. You guys are going to keep your hands and shoulders on the inside of your right thigh. And we're going to move back into that half split, more of a variation. You can leave your foot gently towards the floor and nuzzle down a little bit more. So for most of us, we're not going to be straightening out completely. You can even start to nuzzle that shoulder underneath the thigh a little bit more. Draw your right hip crease back a little bit. A few breaths. I know, breathe through. Keeping your gaze gently up. And then we'll all go ahead and unravel, walk those hands forward again. Start to tiptoe your right foot towards the outer edge of your mat. So we're going into sort of a runner's lunge variation. So as the foot tiptoes out, you want half of it on your mat, half of it turned out slightly. And then placing that right hand on top of your thigh, you can stay there or start to press your thigh away from your chest a little bit more. You want to come onto the knife's edge of that right foot. Make sure you curl your toes, your foot remains really active to support your knee. And then that exhale lets you rotate the chest a little bit more to the right. And then you'll go ahead and slowly bring the hands back down. We'll step that right foot back. Again, however you want to get there, you can go right into a down dog. You can go into all fours and do a little wiggle, little shake out. And then we're moving to our second side. When you're ready, left foot will come forward. And once again, let yourself find some length here. Scooching your knee back, making sure your knee is over the ankle. The knee tracks over the second and third big toe. You stay here in your low lunge. Again, just letting gravity help you stretch here. So there's this honoring this great leap that we're taking, this leap of faith. And you can stay right here. You can start to walk the hands up. You can reach those arms up to the sky. At this point, remember, we're scissoring the legs together a little bit more. Imagine bookends on your hips. And then as you reach up, you feel the rib cage rise up away from your pelvis. Lean back a little bit more. And then bringing the hands back down to the floor, we move into a half split. We straighten out that left leg, dig the heel into the floor, draw the toes towards your face. Keep a micro bend in your knees. So we're going to take an inhale. And then on your exhale, you're going to melt the chest towards the toes. Keep breathing through. It's really easy for the hips to get a little wonky here. You want to continue to square off. Stay high on your right thigh. Draw that left hip crease back. And use the power of your breath. And we're going to walk the hands forward as we come back into our lunge, this time into lizard's pose. So we bring that left shoulder, the inside of the left thigh. Start to melt the chest down, keeping your spine lengthening, and keep hugging that left thigh towards your shoulder. And every breath out, when we soften, we take that first awkward step of surrender, that leap of faith, that all things in life is sacred and the world is all right. One more breath here. All right, so we're gonna go into that awkward posture of our half split. We're gonna stay inside of that left thigh and then start to straighten that left leg out a little bit more. It's okay if you scoot your hip off to the left a little bit. Again, you have to create a little more space for yourself in this pose. But see about just melting the chest forward and keep working towards taking that left hip back. And your foot remains on the floor, so work towards pressing the sole of the foot down. And then we'll go ahead and bring ourselves forward again. This time we tiptoe that left foot towards the outer edge of your mat. So it's about halfway on your mat, halfway turned out slightly, knee tracks over your second and third big toe. Bring that left hand to your thigh, flex your foot, and then press that thigh away from the chest, and then rotate the chest to the left and up. At any point you feel any pinching in low back, back out of your pose. Always honoring the body. Your yoga meets you where you are at. And then we eventually bring the hands back down, gently stepping back. Again, going into any movements you need to. Wiggling it out, shaking it out. And then we're going to eventually all find our way all the way to our belly. So you can just find your forearms down or move through a high to low push-up. As you come down to the floor, stay in Sphinx. So your elbows are going to be directly underneath the shoulders. Go ahead and bring the palms to the floor, press down, and then claw the hands towards you. So you feel a slight pull in the heart center forward. Let your heart melt through. And then taking your gaze over to the right, press down and through that left forearm. And then back to the center, gazing over to the left, press down in your right forearm. And we come back around and we're gonna go ahead and just drop ourselves down into the mat. We're gonna move into half frog and prep ourselves for full frog pose. So as you bring your forehead down to the mat, just do a little wiggle of the hips, just removing any residual effects of your postures thus far. Finding neutrality in your spine. And then we'll go ahead and just bend the right knee. And you're gonna just open the knee up towards the right side of your mat and just slide that knee up towards your shoulder. So I'm gonna do the opposite leg just so you can sort of see it better here. So you're just gonna slide it open, turn your toes out, and then just let yourself rest. Now that can be plenty for some of you. You can just keep pressing down. You can also rise up in the chest. So you're pressing into your forearms. We're feeling a pretty deep sensation in the groin, in the inner thighs here. And again, continue to flex through your foot, press down in your thigh, press your knee down into the floor, and press into those forearms. And then we're gonna go ahead and lower ourselves back into the mat. If you're not already there, go ahead and start to straighten that leg back out and you'll just switch legs, exact same thing. Bending your knee, opening that knee up towards your shoulder, toes are turned out. Curl those toes. And then option to rise up onto your forearms once you have all that. Pressing down, pressing the thigh, knee down into the floor. So it's still a pretty active stretch, even though we're, resting in that front body. And a couple more soothing breaths. And then we're going to go ahead and come on back down to the belly. Extend both legs back. Do that wiggle of your hips again. And then we're going to go ahead and just bend the knees and windshield the legs to the left and to the right. And then lowering your legs down, you'll go ahead and push yourself up into child's pose. So just let those hips sink on top of the heels. You can open up the knees as much as you need to. And then we're going to go into full frog pose next. You're going to go ahead and rise up. Now I like to use the long side of the mat, so you can turn any way that's comfortable for you, or any way where you have a little support for the knees. And you're going to start to open the knees up. Turn your toes out, so it's the exact same shape, except now we're doing both legs together. And then start to shimmy those knees out a little bit more, so you start to feel that deep sensation in the inner groin again. And then drop on down to your elbows, your forearms. Now you can stay there, or perhaps you just relax enough to let the knees just gently slide open, or you can shimmy them open more. And then every exhale, feeling the sensations. Remember, if it's too much, just back out of the pose. And I even offer you press down a little bit, so we're not just moving into the flexibility. We want to feel stability in this pose. So you want to be able to draw in and up at the same time with every exhale, soften. Couple more breaths. And then you'll go ahead and gently find your way back. Go ahead and rise up if you'd like to first, and then start to shimmy the knees in little bits at a time. And then we'll move into hip circles. So you can go ahead and just start to turn to one side of your mat and just circle the pelvis around and around. Going the opposite way. And then you'll go ahead and start to find a seat. And then we'll go ahead and extend the legs forward. We'll go ahead and just tap out those knees, rotate those ankles around. Maybe just give your legs a little rub in the knees. Our legs do so much for us. They let us connect to the earth. They take us from here and there. So just have a little gratitude, or a lot of gratitude. Go ahead and bring that right knee into your chest. So option 1, option 2 is over the extended leg. And then option 3 is to lean over to that left hip, bend your left knee, bring that heel towards your glute. You sit tall in the spine, right hand is behind you, propping you up, big breath. And then exhale, draw that belly in as you rotate towards that right knee. So any variation, really what I'm seeking for us to do here is just to feel more of the outer hip. So we're doing a lot of the inner thigh and opening of the pelvis, and now we'll just counter that with internal rotations. Balancing out the body. And also what we seek through this practice is that integration of the mind, the heart, the coherence. the body, the breath. And then we come back around to the center. Go ahead and start to unravel those legs. Again, little wiggle, little shake out, little rotation. And then the left knee comes into the chest when you're ready. And just find your variation of the pose. Maybe this side will feel, again, a little bit different. We want to respond appropriately. Placing that left hand behind you, you feel the extension of the spine, the elongation, and then we rotate and turn. Couple more breaths here. And then we'll come back around to the center. Again, unravel those legs. Little tap out, little rotation of the ankles. You're going to make your way down to the floor. We're going to do just a couple more postures and then we'll seal our time together. As you come down to your mat, and finding neutrality in your spine, we'll go ahead and cross the right thigh over the left. So like you would at a dinner table, thigh over thigh, knees come into your chest. And then grabbing either your knees, your shin bones, maybe you continue to walk the hands down towards the ankles. You want to make sure your thigh remains on top of thigh. You can start to spread the shin bones apart ever so slightly and press down in your hands. Now be mindful of your knees here. You want to be careful of torquing the knee. Again, if it's too much, just release the hands or just hug the legs in. Then we'll keep the legs crossed. We'll lower the feet to the floor and lift your hips, move your hips over to the right side of your mat, and then we'll just let the knees fall to the left into a twist. And once again, opening up the chest, gazing over to the right. And then we'll bring those legs back up. We'll unravel. Hips and spine to neutral. Left thigh over the right this time. Legs can come into your chest. Give it that good squeeze. Press down in your hands. Feel the sensations in the outer hip, glute. Keep your shoulders dropping. You can run your tongue along your gums, your teeth, keeping your face soft. And then finally, we release the hands. We move into our twist, second side, lowering the feet down, legs remain crossed, hips over to the left, knees will fall over to the right. And gaze can be over that left shoulder. And then finally, we bring those legs back up through the center. We start to unravel them once again, hips and spine to neutral. Legs go back up to the ceiling and then open up into a V shape. So hands could be on the outside of your thighs for support, inner thighs. And then start to bend those knees. Draw those legs together. We curl up into a tiny ball, squeezing in. And then we'll go ahead and just seal our time together. I'll let you just start to settle into your final pose instead of coming up. We'll go and just remain lying down. And extend your legs out. I'll be with you for the first couple minutes of your final pose. Let yourself settle in into a lot of comfort here, a lot of spaciousness as we take up as much room as we need. We acknowledge ourselves for showing up, for doing something so loving for ourselves. And then closing your eyes, letting your body create this beautiful imprint on the earth. This is your body's signature light, energy body. And I invite you to see yourself beyond labels, identity, and imagine every cell in your body sparkling, every cell in your body smiling. And as every cell is open and receptive, we let this feeling of gratitude wash over us. This feeling of complete surrender. And once again, that leap of faith that all things are as they should be, and there is sacredness in all things, in all that. And you are doing your part simply because you are raising your consciousness, your vibration. I invite you to remain here in your Shavasana. Recommended time is at least 10 minutes or more. Give yourself this gift of just simply being with yourself. I bring my hand to my heart. I bow in deep gratitude for each and every one of you. Thank you so much for sharing your time, your energy, your beautiful breath. I leave you with love and light. I leave you with power and with peace. Namaste.